Hey guys, Raya here. On our recent trip to Japan, we made sure to set aside some time to go to DisneyLand DisneySea and stay at one of the Disney resorts. Watch as we give it a try. We were in Tokyo for a few days before we headed out to the resort, so we took the JR line out to the resort gateway station. We got our tickets and headed straight to the hotel. Everything at Tokyo Disney is so themed, starting with the buses. They had Mickey cutouts for windows, and you could see both parks as you headed along the tracks. We were initially going to stay at the Miracosta Hotel, but unfortunately, every room booked up within moments of opening on reservation day. However, my husband's favorite movie is Toy Story, so this was still a great choice for us. It was a super fun walk up to the hotel because as you walked up this path, all the toys increased in size around you, so you slowly became the size of a toy instead of the human size like Andy when you started. This little park in front of the hotel was so well themed. Everything matched what was in Andy's bedroom. There were some hidden woodies, a Critter County sign, even the painted outside of the hotel. Everything was so fun. Even the lobby was so well themed, as if you were in Andy's room or in his toy chest. There were race cars, a board game on the ceiling, aliens to the side. It was just so fun. The hallway was so cute with these footprints on the ground. My favorite color is green, so I was super excited to see that we had a green door. And then the room itself is themed so fun. With the cloud print on the wall, a big Etch-a-Sketch TV, it looks just like Andy's room. And the bonus of the Toy Story Hotel is that you have a harbor view and no one fights you for it. This starlight on the ceiling was so cute with the star curtains to match. The bathroom was surprisingly spacious. It had this fun puzzle print on the wall. All of the amenities that were included were all themed, which was so cute. And then I love this full-size shower room because you had so much room to clean off after those hot days at the park. And I always appreciate a toilet room to itself. We made reservations at Lotso Garden Cafe for our first night there. It was so fun and well themed. This rainbow light was so bright. Everything was so colorful and playful. The murals on the wall, Lotso himself greeting you at the front. These trees. A view of the ocean. Everything was so fun. And the Lotso Garden Cafe is of course a buffet, so there's plenty of food. All of the food was delicious. It was so cute and well themed. With this cow print Swiss roll, green alien bread rolls. So many things were themed after Lotso. Even the pork bun containers had strawberries on the outside. This fun dessert mousse that was themed after Woody. Lotso printed on sushi rolls. You could decorate a green alien with chocolate. Pasta and the shape of all the characters. This restaurant was so well done. And then after dinner, we made sure to find time to walk around and see all of the decorations at night. The lights are so beautiful, and everything looked even more fun and exciting at night. When we made our reservations, we decided to do the first day in Disneyland and the second day in DisneySea. Our stay at the hotel came with early entry, or happy entry as it's called in Tokyo, for Disneyland. They don't do that for DisneySea. We happened to make our reservations before they announced that we were going to be there for the 40th anniversary, and we were actually there for the very first day. So the park was a lot busier on this Monday than we thought it was going to be. Our goal for Disneyland and DisneySea was to do all the rides that are different from the US parks since we've been to those so many times. We decided to rope drop the Beauty and the Beast ride because it always has the longest line at this park. It was so awesome that there's a full castle for this ride that you get to walk through before you get to the ride itself. It was so well decorated, it felt just like stepping into the movie. The outside had so many fun things like the carriage, and then the inside had all of the fun characters from the movies. The opening to the ride was this really cool show where they had a screen projecting the stained glass story at the beginning of the movie. And then these animatronics were so well done. The Beast was incredible. It was so fun to walk through the kitchen and get to ride in the dishes. And the animatronics throughout the ride were literally so cool. We immediately headed over to Winnie the Pooh so we could get it out of the way at the beginning of our day since this one also has a really long line most of the time. Again, this ride was so well themed. Even though the outside of the ride was so well done, this book was so beautiful and you got to walk through all the pages before you got to the ride. We stopped by at the Village Pastry for this chocolate orange pastry that was new to the park for the celebration. It was super good, very light and flaky, and had a really good chocolate orange flavor. And then we went to Grandma Sarah's kitchen for an actual breakfast. We had the egg and rice and meat plate, which was just fine, and then that orange cream puff was so good, and we got a souvenir plate to boot. We walked by the river to see the riverboat really fast. And then they had these pretty cherry blossom trees. We were going to go on Big Thunder Mountain, but then we decided to skip it so that we could make it in time to see this once-a-day parade that they're doing called Disney Harmony in Color. This parade had so many different characters from the original movies, from newer movies, princesses, and then a ton of different Pixar movies as well. It was awesome to see that they had so many different characters. It's also interesting, it seems like at this park they're more willing to do the face characters of Pixar. I've heard that the US avoids those characters because it's difficult to do lifelike cartoon people masks and have it all come across really well, but it doesn't seem like this park was afraid of that at all. They had Wreck-It Ralph, they had Coco, they had Pinocchio and Geppetto. They had so many different characters. And then this big float came through with Mickey and Minnie in their 40th anniversary outfits, and the rest of those original cartoons as well. It was so fun, so bright and colorful. One of the biggest deals at the Tokyo parks is the popcorn. They have so many different unique flavors like chocolate, caramel, curry, and a new flavor was released for the 40th anniversary. The line was a little long, but we decided to give it a try. The berry cheesecake popcorn was so good, and I got this collectible bucket as well. With my collectible bucket, we then went on It's a Small World. And this ride is a lot more fun at this park because it's similar to the Disney World, where they've added so many of the Disney characters to the ride, but this one seems to have even more than any other park we've seen because they have all of the sidekicks. Like Tinkerbell or Mulan's Cricket, Stitch, Jiminy Cricket with Pinocchio, so many different sidekicks, it was so fun. After that, we headed on to Peter Pan's Flight since the line was so much shorter for this ride than it ever is in the US parks. And it's always a fun classic. At this point, it was time for an early lunch with our family, so we went in for our reservations at the Queen of Hearts Banquet Hall. This is a cafeteria-style restaurant. They had so much delicious food, and everything was so well themed. The meat was really good. They had lots of strawberry desserts that we wanted to try. The kids' meals always came on these Mickey-shaped plates, which was so fun. We even got some souvenir plates. And then because of the 40th anniversary, there was this group of comedians or something being filmed doing some promo shots for it that we happened to be sitting right by. So that was crazy. Then we went for a quick ride on the Haunted Mansion, and it was a little spookier, I think, than the rides in the US are. Probably because less children go on it here, and so it's allowed to be scarier. I don't know. We stopped by at the Tiki Room because it's a classic, and this Tiki Room has a Stitch takeover, and Stitch is one of my favorite characters, so we had to stop by. We went on the Jungle Cruise, and the whole ride was basically the same as far as we know. We couldn't actually understand any of the jokes being told by the tour guide since it's all in Japanese, but we assumed she was telling jokes. And it was a little different because at the end, there's a cave that you go through that has this magical elephant that spreads weird magic light around the cave as you travel through. I don't really know what was going on there, but it was fun to have something different happen. And then these showering elephants were so funny at the end. After that, we headed to Pirates. It was fun, but it didn't have any of the newer changes, so it still had the bride market. At this point, I needed to make sure I made some time to go get a churro. Now, at Tokyo Disneyland, they literally pipe the churros in the shape of a Mickey head. I don't know why other parks don't do this because it's such a fun, easy way to add a little bit more of the ambiance. We stopped for a picture with Baymax on the way. The churro was delicious and so fun. And then we did a little photo shoot at the castle during golden hour because it was just so beautiful. At this point, we met up with the rest of our party at Restaurant Hokusai for our dinner reservation. We had this beautiful view of the castle with the cherry blossoms, and we had this fun 40th anniversary drink. Restaurant Hokusai is a pretty traditional Japanese restaurant, so we had udon, a chicken cutlet, and my husband had so much eel and he thought it was so delicious. It was so fun to have this reservation during sunset. The castle was lit up so beautifully, so we made sure to take a couple pictures before we headed over to Tomorrowland. We stopped by the Monsters Inc. ride first. It was so fun that this building was fully designed to look just like the movies. It even has the door map on the ceiling. And then the ride itself was pretty fun. You went through and you saw the characters and you used your flashlight to try to find Boo. We went over to Astro Blasters because it's one of our favorites. We had a great time, but the ride is exactly the same as all the other parks. And then we wanted to end with Star Tours. This ride was empty when we went through it. There was no one in line with us, and all day it had that same 5-minute wait time, so I think it was like this the whole time. The park is always beautiful at night, and they had decorated a bunch of the windows for the 40th anniversary. We headed back to our hotel and got to be on this 40th anniversary bus, which was decorated in such a cute way. We made sure to grab some convenience store breakfast in the lobby of the hotel when we got back so that the next morning we would have breakfast ready to go. And then it was time to head out to DisneySea. We didn't have happy entry for this, so we had to wait in the general admission line. All of the trains were themed so differently, and it was really fun to see them all come into the station while we waited. I thought the globe fountain was really cool. And then of course this park was also decorated for the 40th anniversary. Since we didn't have happy entry for this park, we knew we were going to end up paying for the premium access for the 2 big rides in this park. So we decided to head all the way to the back of the park to do Indiana Jones, since they had a single rider line that wasn't often utilized by people. But on the way there, we decided to stop in on the Nemo ride since it gets busier as the day goes on, and there was no line while we were there. It was kind of like a combination of one of the 4D movie experiences that they have at a lot of the Disney parks, but also combined with Star Tours where you're in a vehicle and it moves around and jostles you. It was really, really fun and really well done. Even though it was all in Japanese, it was still fun to see all of the visuals, and the music was still the same, so it had a bit of that nostalgia to it as well. And then these otters were just so cute. The rest of our party went on rider swap while we watched the kids, so we took some pictures with characters that came out while we waited. The outside and line of this ride was so well decorated. It was really well done. It felt like a real temple. It felt very cool, very ancient. It was funny that the whole ride was basically the same as the normal Indiana Jones ride, except that they added a bunch of crystal skulls everywhere. So that was funny. Then we headed for a quick jaunt through Arabia. We wanted to just walk through and see what Arabia was like here since everything was so well designed. And we stopped in on the Sinbad ride while we were there. The concept of Sinbad is that there's like 7 stories, and this ride was so long because I think it did all 7 stories. That map at the beginning that had all of those labels for the different titles of the stories, each one of those was an experience on this ride. It was so long, and unfortunately it was in Japanese, so we couldn't understand very much of what was going on, but the characters and the animatronics all kind of tell the story enough that you could get it. Then we walked through Arabia to get to the Mermaid Lagoon. So here's some footage of just the fun shops and bazaar that you get to walk through as part of this area. This was the area where they had the popcorn that smelled like curry, and it smelled really accurate. It was pretty shocking. There were fun nods to the Aladdin story throughout this area. The castle for Mermaid Lagoon is just so pretty. I don't know why they didn't build it on the front side of the volcano so that it was one of the featured parts of walking into this park, because it's so pretty and so well done. There was this huge statue of King Triton with his dolphins pulling his chariot. And then this was the Mermaid Lagoon. So basically the Mermaid Lagoon is the children's area of DisneySea, which I think is so smart that they did it this way, because it's an enclosed space, so it helps the kids stay in an enclosed, safer area. It makes it so that you don't need sunblock or umbrellas because it blocks from all the weather, so kids can still ride on all of their kid rides even during the rain. And then also it kind of insulates the sound of all the crazy kids screaming and running around, which helps with the ambiance of the rest of the park as well. Unfortunately, the only ride we were interested in going on was actually a theater that's in this area, and it was closed while we were here, but that was okay. This is where we ate for lunch. It was really tasty food, honestly, even though it was just a kids area. We had this seafood calzone, and we got this flounder cup souvenir that had this jello dessert inside that was really tasty. And then you got to go through Ariel's literal grotto, her cave with all of her treasures and gadgets and gizmos in it, which was super fun. After that, it was time for our premiere access to the ride for Journey to the Center of the Earth, which was super fun and super well themed. And then we happened to be walking around when the volcano went off. I didn't even know it did that, so that was super cool. We also rider swapped for this one with the rest of our party, so we had some time to roam around while they were on the ride. We were interested in doing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but we had some other priorities, so we didn't do it earlier in the day when we were in this area, but we did make time for it at the very end of the night. The camera didn't capture it super well, but this ride is also just really dark. And then we wanted to get on the steamboats that go around the park. I thought these were a super fun little transport and a great way to see the park. I didn't realize at first that each steamboat doesn't stop at all 4 ports. So there's one steamboat that goes from the Mediterranean to the jungle and then back, and then the other port goes to the other 2 major areas. So we didn't get to stop off at all 4 ports, but it was still awesome to see each of the areas of the park. and it was such a fun view of each of the areas. You could see how well designed they were and also how well insulated they were from each other. Then it was time to head to our reservation at the Teddy Roosevelt Lounge at the SS Columbia. That's the big ship that is docked in the American waterfront area. We happened to be getting in line at the same time as this little show was going on, so we got to see the classic characters, which was fun. The ambiance was very cool at this place. We don't drink alcohol, so we got some non-alcoholic beverages. We did a little sampler menu that lets you eat around the park, and then we also got a sandwich and chicken and waffles. The waffles were basically like Eggos, but that chicken was some of the best chicken I had. And the sampler menu was really cool. We got some of the chocolate popcorn that they had, and then just kind of explored while we were there. What's crazy about DisneySea is Soarin' is one of the biggest rides in this park. It is equivalent to Journey to the Center of the Earth in that it has the longest line and has the paid fast pass. This line started the day at 80 minutes at minimum and never went below that while we were in the park that day. So we bought the premier access passes and we went through it because the rest of our party wanted to, but if it's not worth the cost to you, then I don't know if I would do it. Just because the ride is exactly the same except for the 2 scenes at the end that change at every single Disney park. We tried to go on the Venetian gondolas, but at this point the wind had kicked up so badly that they were closing them down for the day, so that was the only disappointment of this park. We decided to do some people watching while eating our popcorn and going on walks, so we went around this area, saw this guy with 1,000,000 Donald Ducks on his backpack, which was crazy, and then here are some fun posters they had up for the 40th anniversary. This is a little bit of a walkthrough. Most of the walkthrough is showing you the area of the fortress that is currently being renovated right now at this park. So some of it was not accessible, but it was cool to see. And then one of the biggest things at Tokyo Disneyland is Duffy. Duffy is supposed to be Mickey Mouse's teddy bear, and apparently all of Mickey's friends also have their own teddy bears as well. So you can find them everywhere in the park. So while we were sitting at this fountain eating popcorn, I decided to do a Duffy watch, and we found so many just on the people walking through this area. It was so crazy. We had dinner reservations at the Ristorante di Canaletto, and this place was pretty classic Italian. Classic Italian artwork and architecture. And we got some pasta. My husband tried the squid ink and I just had the carbonara. And then this dessert was really tasty. At this point, I was watching the kids while the rest of the party went to go do 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I just wanted to sit and look at all of the pretty lights lit up for the night. And then it was time to head back to our hotel. This is the outside of the 40th anniversary decoration bus. I thought it was super fun. Even the handles to hang on to are Mickey heads, which is so crazy. Here was our quick breakfast while we got ready for the day. They had these fun Buzz Lightyear pajamas you could wear during your stay. And then we headed to our lunch reservation at the Miracosta Hotel buffet. There was this really cool fountain outside of the hotel, which is apparently pretty new. We got these very cool drinks that were like a soda water that you mixed your flavoring into, which was just a fun experience. The food here was pretty fancy. It was a lot higher end than anything else we had tried during the rest of our Disney stay. We really enjoyed a majority of the food. The desserts were really good as well. And then this was my plate of seconds. Those tarts and donut were really good. The Miracosta buffet looks out over DisneySea, so we got to wave goodbye to the parks as we headed out. This whole trip was awesome, but I especially did love being able to go to Disneyland and capture that classic Disney feel. I loved that you could see the volcano and the Disney castle through the windows on the train. It was so fun. And then it was time to head back into Tokyo for the rest of our trip. And that's it. Let me know if you want a video reviewing the Disney food we tried, and keep an eye out for a video coming soon about the rest of our trip to Japan. Thanks for watching!